What's up, guys? Hades here, bringing you another IB League video. This one's gonna be a tier list because we need to talk about the best teams coming into this season. We got a whole list of top teams who consistently perform at the very highest level, and I want to show you guys who I think's the best. Okay? So I spent probably 3+ hours reviewing all the games, looking at the top teams, checking their records. I've played all of these teams many times. I know where a lot of the big names have gone, and this is the list that I came up with. So, a few disclaimers about this list. First of all, I did not add alt alliances. I know a lot of these top teams have 2 in the playoffs. I did not include them. Second, I know not every single team is here because the list would get too long and the video would get too long. So I'm just going to talk about some of the top teams that you got to look out for and you might want to do some scouting against. You also might want to learn a thing or two about them because there's teams and players who have created metas and they have to be matched or countered or you're never going to beat them. So coming in on our number 1 slot in the S tier, it's AOW. There's no surprise there, guys. They're right here. They've been at the top of the game forever. They didn't lose. They also beat some of the top teams. Didn't quite get 100k versus SF and Lions, who are also going to be in the top of the list. But you can see they pretty much smack everyone else around. They've got Snowy, he was on the championship team with me last 2 seasons, so they have another upgrade to their team. This team is S tier. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, and they're in a place of their own. Until someone beats them, they're not going to move from that slot. They are the number 1 seed in my opinion, and I don't think there's anyone that's going to move them. Now, moving on to A tier. We have 4 teams, and for me, these are title contenders. Every single one of these teams can beat each other, and they all have the option to beat AOW. Like, they're close enough where there's a chance. Not a great one, and if you played each other 10 times, it probably wouldn't be that great. But I also ordered these, and I think this is the order they're in currently. Buns is number 2, Lions 3, SF is 4, and PRD 5, and I'll go through why I think those. So first of all, Buns has just been absolutely killing it, and they've had one of the hardest matchups just in general. So they've beaten Vex, they've beat SF, they had a tough match against Lions, they had a nice win against PRD, and even into Vex's alt alliance. They beat GSI. They have beaten a lot of great teams and they struggled against one against the Red Lions. So they went 9-1. They've proven themselves multiple times. I faced them this season and last season. They have a few upgrades. They're a solid team. They have some of the best players. I've played with Spas. I've played with Mike. These guys are great players. So, coming into the number 3 slot, we have Lion. Lion has been a bit of a meme on Discord if you're up with the Discord. They talk a lot the past few seasons, but they put their money where their mouth is, and here they are. They're coming up the ranks, and they're good, guys. They're really good. And they have 2 teams, and they've proven they're good on both. They're 8-1 here, and they're 9-1 here. They have some pretty quality wins. They beat Vex. They struggled into AOW, but they didn't even let them get 100k. My rule of thumb is usually if you can keep your opponent under 100,000, you really were hanging with them, and you can see here, right? They're usually a pretty even matchup if the opponent doesn't get 100,000. So Lions is someone to watch out for. They've got a ton of fraggers. When you look into their stats, let me get into a better one. They got a bunch of fraggers, guys. Millions. They got 12 people who hit a mil. Like, that's insane. When you look at, their opponent, they got 2, right? It's not the same. Their depth is crazy. They have great strategy, and they are on a mission to be one of the top teams. So they come in at the number 3 slot. Number 4, we have SF. This is my team. We've been playing pretty good. We're still brand new. I moved from 57 to 170. We're doing good. We have 2 really, really close teams against what I consider number 1 and number 2 teams. And we held our own. We couldn't pull out the victories when it mattered. And that's why we're not rated as highly as we would be otherwise. But putting the number 1 and 2 teams on their back foot and making them feel it, I think deserves the number 4 slot. And then we have number 5, PRD. PRD has been good for quite a while. They have multiple alliances. You can see them right here. They got Cubs, went 10-0. The only reason I don't quite put this at the top is just that their opponents. A lot of their opponents just are kind of weak. I mean, this is our alt alliance. So once they put up some wins against some top teams, I'll probably move it, because a lot of these teams just aren't there, right? They lost to Buns, and then there's no one else. So if anyone has a misplace, it's probably PRD. They could be somewhere else in here. They just haven't proven themselves yet. They have no big wins. So yeah, they've had an easy path. Let's go to B tier. B tier is teams that I think have potential. They have some great players, some well-known players, some good strategies, but they just kind of don't have that core, that solid core that'll push them to the front. And then I got this surprise team here. This is a Japanese team that came out of nowhere, and I want to talk about them a little bit because they've got some potential, and I don't think people are talking about them enough. But they've done some great things. Let me find them really quick. Right here. They had a really tough game against NG+. Might end up doing a review on this game. We'll see about it in the future. They had a bad win against Vanguard, and they barely lost NG+. So they're not at the top echelon. They have no big wins. But NG Plus is a pretty solid team, and this is a new team, 7-2. They shocked me. I've never seen them before, and I can't wait to see what they do in the future. Of course, Vex. If you want to check out my last video, I reviewed Buns vs Vex, which was a fantastic game. And this just shows kind of the tiers, right? Buns ended up winning against Vex, even though Vex had a huge advantage off the start. Buns ended up coming back, showing their experience in tight matches to pull out victories. But Vex is no slouch. They're a solid team. Let's look at their stats real quick. So yeah, we got them here. Really close game against Lions. Close game against Buns. They beat NG+. So that's why they're here. They're right here at the top of B. I maybe even could have put them here at the bottom of A, but I think for the term of balance sake, it's better to have more of a distribution. So this is where I'm placing them, but they're better than NG. We have SSQ. This is going to be the last team I go into depth with in this video, but SSQ is also a solid team. They have some really good players. But again, they just don't quite have... Where'd they go? Right here. 9-1. They just don't have the pedigree, right? None of these teams are like at the top. And they have a couple of struggles against some of the moderate teams. But, 75k against an alt, one of the top teams, is not bad. They have Sozi, big respect for him, and they got Moss. They have a few solid players here. I would love to see them really put it together, find that niche, put themselves into the next echelon, but for now they're going to stay here in the B tier. So as the season goes, I'm going to adjust this list as I see fit. I don't see any major changes happening, but as for now, this list looks pretty solid. If any of these teams don't like where they are, they need to beat someone ahead of them. Because as this list stands, usually the tier above them beat a team from below them, right? There's a reason AOW is above these teams, because they keep winning against top teams. And the A tier teams have all beat the B tier teams, etc., right? So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to keep updating this in the future. And if you think if you agree or you disagree, leave some messages in the comments, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.